Today was a good day for flying, Antiel thought as she soared over the tall trees just south of her home. She flew directly toward the sun, letting its warmth bathe her face. Closing her eyes, she stretched her wings wide and glided, sighing deeply. She knew she should turn north toward home, but not just yet. A few more miles of forest remained before she would cross into the domain of men. She always thought the village elders worried too much. Sometimes she even flew over the human village just to watch the little men shout and scramble. She opened her eyes to judge the distance to the nearest one and paused, debating. A smile crept across her face as she imagined the scene. After all, weren't they the ones who crossed into her land, armed with weapons to hunt them? But duty called. And Chiel turned northward as she neared the edge of the forest. She beat her wings with renewed purpose, catching sight of a few dragons ahead, fellow kin marking the skies above home. They were mere specks to her eyes, but she was fast and closed the distance quickly. Then came the sounds. At first faint, but as she drew closer, they grew louder screams, roars, the clash of steel and fire. A chill ran down her spine. She pumped her wings harder, panic rising. The trees below were too dense to land in just anywhere. She needed to find the glade. Glancing down, she saw men running, fleeing the noise behind them. Smoke curled through the trees, and ahead she could now clearly see men and dragons locked in battle. The glade, normally a place of peace, was a battlefield. There was no space to land. Dragons filled the sky above and the glade below, attacking, defending, bleeding. She circled, watching in horror as several dragons swooped low, snatching men from the ground, some flinging them into the trees, others ripping them apart midair and tossing their remains. She had never fought like this before, never been forced to battle from the air. "Antiel," a voice called. She turned toward the sound. It was Finken, an elder, flying close despite a gash across his face that dripped blood down his snout. "They're starting to run," he said grimly. He dove into the glade, grabbing a man with his talons before rising sharply into the sky. Antiel watched as he climbed higher and higher. Elders could fly where the air grew thin, something that always amazed and slightly saddened her. She was still young, barely an adult in their eyes. Two small figures tumbled from Finken's claws, falling like stones through the sky. She turned away before they hit the earth. Another elder, whose name she couldn't recall, flew by carrying a small dragon on his back. "The humans are retreating," he said, circling so she could hear him. "There's no need to pursue. We've taken heavy losses, many are injured. They brought fire cannons this time. They're getting smarter and we're getting fewer." He shifted the weight of the young dragon carefully on his back. "What of my brothers?" Antiel asked quickly before he could fly away. "I don't know. At least one of us was taken." He gave a solemn glance and flew off toward the mountain caves. As she continued circling, she saw dragons lifting the wounded or limping through the trees. Scattered human corpses lay in the glade and forest, and a few dragons gorged themselves, not out of hunger, but out of vengeance. Most dragons detested the taste of human flesh. Finally, she spotted her brothers near the center of the battleground. Where fallen trees smoldered and flames still licked the broken earth, the only humans in sight were dead ones. She landed with a heavy thud near the glade's edge. Her mother poked her head from one of the caves, then rushed toward her. And Chiel ran to meet her, rubbing her neck along her mother's, the dragon way of hugging. "Is your brother all right?" her mother asked, alarmed by the tears in Antiel's eyes. "Yes," Antiel replied shakily. "He stayed behind to help direct the injured. He's making sure everyone gets home safely." "Thank God for that," her mother whispered. "Why, Mother? Why do the humans come here and try to hurt us? We never bother them. Why can't they just leave us alone?" She pleaded. It was true. The dragons never raided human villages. They respected the boundaries of other creatures' domains and killed only what they needed to survive, never for sport. I don't know, sweetheart, her mother said softly. I don't think anyone truly understands humans, not even they do. Her mother turned to tend to Anshil's sisters, leaving her alone with her thoughts. She had heard whispers of a human witch, one who lived deep in the forest beyond the mountains. They said she knew things no one else did, that creatures from all corners of the wild sought her guidance in times of need. Maybe she would understand. Maybe she could explain why humans were the way they were. Anshil gazed out toward the distant peaks and made her decision. Tomorrow she would find the witch.